Excellent show.
Excellent.
What should we call it?
Can you hear me?
I can!
Yay.
Woohoo.
Awesome.
All right, that's
How did
amazing.
that happen?
There's
I
your
don't know.
time. Can you hear me?
Maybe we shamed it.
Maybe.
Episode 2808. Can you hear me?
There.
Good.
Well, the top one is the Computer Fraud and Abusive Act.
Abusive. Okay. Get it. Yeah.
The entire internet violates the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. I'm looking for something funny.
A walled garden with a moat and alligators and guys with crossbows?
Yeah, but what does that say?
I'm not sure what that's referring to.
Me neither.
Yeah.
It sounds exciting, though.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's what you call a... Yeah, okay.
Cruise can't roll. Pokemon keeps going. Bug fix required for the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act.
Don't just make it so it's don't vote for hey Facebook nice rack. Don't do that one.
Phone rack. Phone rack.
Phone rack. Face rack.
We need better laws. Bull disclosure.
We need more informed voters. That's what we need.
The Computer Broad and Abusive Act. Another take on from Dark Redeemer.
Poke exit.
I don't know if we're there. Let's hold on to that's a good one. I see you. Let's hold on to that one until we have the story of people no longer playing. I think
that is good. Poke
exit. I like Striking Rich's baby, you can drive my car. Get it? It's for the...
I do.
Gotta cash them all. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Nothing really grabbing me by my non-existent lapels.
Well, get some lapels, and I'm going to go for the Computer Broad
and Abusive Act.
Better than fraud.
Fraud.
Because the Fraud and Abusive Act, you almost can scan it and not realize that you've changed it.
I voted for Zoe Brings Bacon's Facebook isn't a government yet because Tom said that and it made me laugh in the show and it made me laugh now. So I like that.
All right. Should we do that one?
I just voted for the Broad and Abusive Act. All right.
All right. That's fine. You can vote for more than one.
I'll vote for Bacon's.
A vote for Bacon is a vote for your future.
A bacon in every pan.
Captain Jack, it's unfortunate Provo exists.
Well, it was just one of those unfortunate phrasings where, like, I know exactly what he means.
Yeah.
But
Provo? I thought you meant provolone. I don't want Provo in my stomach.
Look, Scott's very pro-vo.
I'm very pro.
Anti-vo.
So, what's the deal with Provo? Is it just
great? It's a great city. It's a big college town. It's beautiful.
Oh, I see. College. Wait, which college?
No, there's nothing wrong with Provo. It's only that it has Google Fiber already, and the rest of Salt Lake City area does not.
Yeah, the rest of the valley doesn't.
Which college is in Provo?
UIU, Brigham Young University. Well, another one, UNV or University of Utah Valley University. So there's now another one there, but yeah.
I always thought BYU was in Salt Lake. I'm sorry.
No, that's U of U, University of Utah.
But Provo is close to Salt Lake.
It is. Right? It's like 20, 30 minutes.
Boulder is to Denver, kind of?
Yeah, kind of like that.
All right.
It's one of the big three. There's Ogden, Salt Lake, and Provo. Ogden's is a shithole. Salt Lake's awesome, and Provo's very clean and nice.
So just to be clear, Scott not saying something nice about Ogden. he meant to insult Ogden.
People who live in Ogden, they know.
Well.
Ogdenville was featured in The Simpsons. It was one of the towns with the monorail.
Yep.
Or North Haverbrook.
Yep. I love that episode. It's good memory on that.
Monorail, because it had song.
Yep.
It's a mnemonic. Monorail.
The spoon fell off my pudding can.
Let me help you with that.
My good man, right?
Yeah. So, is there a chance the track could bend? Not on your life, my Hindu friend. You know, a town with money is a lot like a mule with a spinning wheel. No one knows how he got it, and darn if he knows how to use it.
Man, you had a lock on the memories of that episode. That's really good.
No kidding.
The other one was the Planet of the Apes. It's like the movie, no, the musical. Or no, the planet or the apes. It's like no, the new something musical, and then they do the whole
The
Dr.
new hit
Seuss.
musical.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Yeah, it was great.
You know, it's funny because the original like maybe 3 or 4 seasons were super subversive, and then they kind of fell into complacency, and then they picked up again, and then went back down. It's hard.
I'm amazed that Fox still finds it worth funding.
It's because it's, you know what? I don't even think it's just pure eyeball share. I think it's all the revenue from after sales, like either DVDs or like on demand, but also merchandising, right? Don't they own the merchandising rights to all that?
Sure, but at some point even that would have to decline, you would think. Like if the show wasn't very good and no one watched it, people would stop buying the merchandise too.
And it would go away. The show's doing fine. It's still in the top 10 every week. It's like it ain't going anywhere.
Just remember, it came out at a time where people saying primetime cartoons for adults.
Yeah.
No, I remember watching it on the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah, those weird little shorts they did.
Yeah.
Were great.
I was still in high school.
I was in junior high.
Yeah. There are people who've lived their whole lives with The Simpsons on TV. People who are 40 years old. I don't
no, actually, that's not true, because they would have for their entire lives they would have had to been born 86, 87.
Yeah. But when does it become the longest running television show?
It is the longest running television.
Is it? It is?
Yeah.
I thought there was still a soap opera that had it beat.
It might be a soap. You know what? Maybe.
I think it beat everything, including it beat Gunsmoke a couple years ago.
Right. I remember that. So it became the longest running primetime at that point. And then I thought there was still a soap opera.
Oh, you're thinking of
Days of Our Lives or
yeah, but according to the quick that's prime time.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
We got to notice how we all feverishly try to find this information.
So here's your primetime list. This is pretty good. Simpsons, 27 years.
Sure. Oh, 27. Good to know.
27. Gunsmoke, 20. Law and Order, 20. And South Park was a 19. Or is it 19?
Tonight Show faces 50. The Open Mind, dramatic series of any genre. Guiding Light was like the
which is no longer on, right?
Yeah.
Right, but it started in the 50s or something, right? Super old.
All the rest are basically sports or news shows. Like As the World Turns at 54.
And it's still on? As the World Turns?
No, 2010 it ended.
Oh,
Dang.
okay.
Boy, that must have been a bummer. That's a long time.
The number one, at least in, I guess, in the United States, is Meet the Press, followed by the CBS Evening News.
Okay.
And then Music and the Spoken Word syndicated.
What? Really?
Hallmark Hall of Fame. You know, that doesn't count. That's more of an anthology. We'll just throw stuff in. Today Show. ABC World News Tonight, The Tonight Show at 62 years, Face the Nation 62, and It Is Written. First religious program. Okay, that's why I've never seen it. I watched Joel Osteen myself.
Of course you do.
It's great. I watch it not only because I'm a very religious man, as Tom knows, but also because I'm fascinated at the role that not just religion, but like evangelical movements, and how they often cross over into a lot of the motivational and self-help kind of areas of your life.
Sense.
I mean, you sprinkle in God, Jesus, and belief, but a lot of the stuff, if you strip out like those words, it sounds suspiciously like a motivational seminar.
Oh my gosh. Criminal Minds, Grey's Anatomy is still airing?
Yes.
What? Yeah. I had no idea.
Eileen stopped watching it a few years ago, but it's still on.
I think my wife quit right around the time Katherine Heigl took off. That feels like 20 years ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Oh, weird.
Is Law and Order still on?
Special Victims Unit. It's in its 17th year.
SVU is in its 17th year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Still going.
How long do they have Law and Order UK? Oh, that started in 2009.
I'm trying to. Okay. I'm just looking at the averages. The averages on scripted television is like 9 seasons is very common. Like
I thought 7 was more common, but 9. It sounds like 9. Huh?
Maybe you're right about that.
But see, 7 was the you need that to get syndication.
17 seasons.
You know what? You're right, and they stop at 7. They don't go lower, and it is the bigger number. You're totally right.
Oh, I didn't order video games, double or nothing.
I mean, you can get syndication with less than 7 seasons, but 7 seasons is the ideal.
I love reading the order of these.
That may not be right. I may just be making that.
No, that's not true because Star Trek, the original series, is only 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's no. I'm saying you could still get syndication without that many seasons, but
generally they like it because you can really amortize the cost of buying into it.
Right.
Like
MASH. MASH used to be on like every night.
Hey, I don't want to freak you out or anything, but Malcolm in the Middle with Bryan Cranston was on for more years than Breaking Bad was.
Wow.
Real?
Yeah, Breaking Bad was 6
Breaking Bad wasn't on that long. I don't consider it a long-running show.
No. No, and it was intentionally finished when they wanted to. You know, it's like a different... No, it's a different time now.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Lost decided to finish at the 6th season, and they were like, basically, we really only wanted 5.
Yeah. We got to get that Nikki and Palo in there.
Well, and Game of Thrones is the same thing, where they're like, we have an end. We're not going to just keep making Game of Thrones and coming up with new things to throw at you.
They'll have...
It's not the never-ending story.
But isn't it, Tom? Because you can just have another set of Thrones and new games.
Well, aren't they doing a spin-off?
Sure, that's what the head of HBO is saying to Benioff and Weiss.
It's like, we spent...
Come on, just come up with new games for the Thrones, you know.
I'm wondering what are they going to do, because with the Brexit... they don't get that grant from the EU.
Yeah, but
just film it in New Zealand.
Brexit hasn't even been triggered yet, and after it's triggered, it takes 2 years. And I imagine the UK is going to go the full 2 years before it leaves.
So you think they can squeeze out a couple of more seasons?
They're shooting this year the second to last season.
They have a total of 15 episodes left. That's it.
Yeah.
So both the next seasons are shortened, and it's 15 total episodes, so it's really only a regular season and a half, if you think of it in the math.
So there, Brexit wins. Everyone wins. Everyone wins.
Also, I've heard spin-off talk, but I don't remember where I read that. Like, not spin-off, but like other tales in the world of...
Well, yeah, there's Dunk and Egg. That'd be kind of fun.
Pot Pie. The Adventures of Pot Pie.
No, Dunk and Egg stories. George R. R. Martin actually wrote stories called Dunk and Egg.
Oh, I didn't know about those.
Okay.
I still would watch a Pot Pie.
Wait, like Egg as EGG?
Yeah, well, it's short for Aegon. It's about Aegon Targaryen and Duncan.
I was thinking it could be a funny spin-off series called The Scrambled Adventures
of Aegon.
Duncan Egg, right?
So but that's the other thing is they could go total prequel and have young everybody, and they won't. I don't think they do a full Aegon era prequel, but
The Hot Pie Adventures.
The Hot Pie Adventures, starring.
Maybe they can extend it into the 18th century. And it'll be like the age of sail and like colonizing new lands and stuff with dragons.
Has anyone successfully? I know there's lots of books, Tom, but has anyone successfully translated a TV or movie a modern setting for a fantasy series that isn't Harry Potter?
Oh, like
I know comic books, but I don't know any.
Yeah, like TV series or movies, modern, like Elf Punk.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, you know what? What was the one that? Wait, do you count like what was the what was the Charmed? Like shows like Charmed or Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Oh yeah, Charmed's a good example. Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Yeah, but I'm talking like the arc. Well, maybe what I'm asking for is too specific. Like I want the archetypes of knights and paladins and wizards and orcs and.
Have you seen Once Upon a Time?
Oh, the Dresden Files, but it was only on for a season.
The one I'm thinking.
Yeah, those are actually decent examples. Now that you say it. Once Upon a Time is actually.
I want a spin-off, and this could just be a book. I want a spin-off of A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, that is that world in a post-industrial age, like a computer age. So like Westeros and Essos have advanced technologically. They now understand when winter is coming. They have a meteorological computer that can tell you that. Like, what does that world look like when it gets all of the technology we have today?
So this is the one crux of the issue with that, and I understand because I used to have like a strong interest in like, what if you take all this kind of magical fantasy tropes and you brought them into a more contemporary setting where you had automobiles, airplanes, and stuff like that. The problem is like, at what point where does the science and the magic intersect where you kind of say, well, that doesn't really make sense.
Well, I love the idea of, first of all, the seven kingdoms have now become nation states, and there's a United Nations of the planet. And then, they now understand the White Walkers. The White Walkers are an endangered species kept on reserves north of the Wall. The Wall is now managed by the Department of Interior of Starkland.
I love that idea.
Starkland.
We visited the White Walkers Reserve to find out how they are treated. Like a documentary exposing malhandling of the White Walkers.
I like it. I like it a lot. There's actually as far as fictional universes go, the Warhammer universe, which is a lot like Warcraft, is a fantasy set thing that's, horses and swords and wizards and magic. And then they have the Warhammer 40K universe, which is 40,000 years later, and it's space marines and giant armadas and ships, but orcs still exist. And they've got technology, and it's, they've kind of done what you're saying. They've taken this.
They have, but it's a weird, like, Warhammer 40K is kind of weird because they tried to shoehorn all the stuff that made Warhammer great into like a space. We want space and lasers and missiles and stuff, but the like with the warp, and then the warp, is it, what do you call it, the corrupted space marines?
I forgot. I know you
like it, but I understand what you're saying. But at some point you end up with the ideal situation. Honestly, is you end up with something like Star Wars, because that is one of the few examples where you can kind of manipulate magic, the Force, into a technological alien, rich civilization, and it doesn't feel out of place.
You kind of just did it. Yep, that's exactly it. Like, that's maybe I already have what I want. Star Wars is what I already wanted. Maybe because it feels right there. You don't have. See, the problem is trying to wedge in like modern conventions, like, well, everyone's got cell phones, and
and what the key is, you're trying to do it. I think you're trying to do the trappings of modern society instead of doing the core of the society, which means better education, freer access to forms of transit. You can move jobs and stuff. I'm sure if the world of Game of Thrones is a little more less Keynesian and a little more laissez-faire in terms of their economy with everyone, I think things would change. Would probably turn out a little different.
Yeah.
Are you criticizing the fiscal policies of the Baratheon administration?
Maybe if they harness the dragons like Clydesdales and use them for like events like a Christmas event where they just pull a large carriage around, you all clap.
I'd be all in on that. Sign me up.
Because really, you don't really see a use for large draft horses anymore, other than showpieces, which is kind of sad. Oh, and also Ren Fair. People use them for jousting. Have you ever seen them? They put the homemade armor on it and stuff, and they charge at each other.
Wow.
It's a lot of money for something that happens about once a year.
I used to have a neighbor kid that would do that on his bike. He would have fake armor and a jousting stick, and him and his buddy would go at each other on the street. That was always fun to watch.
All right, well, we've solved that.